this is a story that I think has somewhat slipped underneath the boxing radar, or maybe people are just not very interested in hearing about it. I'm always, as you guys probably know if you've been following me for the last few years, anything PD related, steroid related, even allegations, accusations, rumors, I am fucking all over it like flies on shit. Just because I want to see a clean sport. That's it. I don't want to accuse anyone. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But I do want to feel like this is a 50-50 fight. Because in boxing, it rarely is. I mean, you've got skills, you've got weight differential. Yeah, they might get on the scales the same, but let's be honest, they're probably the same weight for about a minute and then someone balloons. So there's so many different factors that go into what people think are 50-50 matchups that any talk of someone even cheating a little bit, like 1%, it just infuriates me. So when I read this story a couple of days ago, what I normally do when I hear something like this, I just want to see what fighters react. I want to see who jumps, right? And it's strange. The first fighter that jumped was Tony Bellew. And I was happy because I do believe that Tony Bellew is clean. I honestly 110% believe that Tony Bellew is as clean as they get when it comes to boxers. I really do. I follow him on Twitter and social media, and he is anti it. I mean, he's like ban him for life, chuck him in jail, and you can just see who is anti it and who doesn't like open their mouth. Sergio Mora, another one that responded. And for those of you that don't know about the story, look at this, 2 minutes in, I've not even really mentioned what's going on. A female boxer, I want to call her a trailblazer. She kind of was in the late 90s, early 2000s. That was kind of her peak. She fought until 2016. A female boxer called Myosin John, former world champion. Lost a few, but that was that era of boxing. You know, you got matched hard. She has come out, and it was in defense of Canelo, which was interesting. There was a statement. I can't remember. Someone put a statement on Twitter when they were asking Golovkin questions about Canelo's PED cheating. And she kind of, I wouldn't say defended Canelo, but what she did defend was boxing. She said, well, come on, stop it. Everyone cheats in boxing. Everyone knows it. And for me, from a former world champion who still goes to gyms, still knows a few promoters, still knows a lot of boxers, when you hear that statement, and she said everyone cheats in boxing. She didn't just say, yeah, boxing's rife with steroids. She said everyone. And look, obviously everyone doesn't cheat, but that statement alone tells me that she says the majority. Is that fair? Is that fair to say she thinks at least 51% of the top boxers cheat? I think that's a fair statement, or that's at least what I'm getting from her statement. And she herself, so she's not just making a statement, people. She herself said, look, I cheated in over 20 fights, and I got caught no times. That, ladies and gentlemen, scared the shit out of me. Myosin John, a female boxing world champion, cheated in over 20 fights, got tested. She said she admits this in her statement. She goes on to clarify a few more things, but got tested and passed every drug test. So when I hear that statement, and when I hear people say, yeah, but he hasn't failed a test, stop it, stop ruining his name. When you hear things like Myosin John just admit that she cheated and passed test, passing a test just isn't enough anymore. It isn't enough. When we catch someone cheating, it's not the first time you fucking cheated. When you go out and you cheat on your bird, or your bird cheats on you, we think it's the first time. No, it's the first time you caught them. It's not the first time they done it. It's the first time you found out. You think if you go down someone's phone and see a few messages from girls, they did it there and then, that second? Of course not. You just found out that there in that second. And that's what basically she's saying. She's saying, look, I cheated 20 times. This is a top female world championship boxer admitting she cheated 20 times and passed 20 times, didn't ever get caught. She retired 2 years ago. I don't know if she's trying to write a book. You know, it's like in America. You know, you always want to create a bit of scandal, get your name out there, and then you want to maybe sell us a product. I don't know if she's trying to write a book, but nonetheless, I'm taking out what she said in it. And that scares the shit out of me. It really does. Because, I mean, look, I've watched boxing since the late 80s. So when I was about 9, 10. But I fully understood it in the mid-90s. And so you're talking well over 20 years of watching boxing, like really watching boxing. And you start to see things that, you know, unless they're aliens in the ring, you think that's just not possible. I start to see guys take punches that shock me. I start to see guys' gas tanks not run empty. I start to see guys throw numerous punches around and not get tired. And I'm watching that thinking, nah. But you can't say anything, right? You can't say anything, but I'm watching it thinking it's not possible. You know, and then people will say to me, well, yeah, but they haven't failed a drug test. But I'm still looking at it. You're not fooling the eye test. You're not fooling the eye test. And Myosin John has just clarified that for me. You're not fooling the eye test. Saying you passed the test isn't enough. Isn't enough. You know why it isn't enough? Because we don't have all year round drug testing. And I've said this time and time again. Boxing is the most easiest sport to cheat in. I could cheat right now in boxing. I could cheat right now. And you know why I could cheat right now? Because they'll tell me, Ade, I'll say yes. We've got a fight booked for you in February. I'll say, oh, thank you, February. So that means I go into camp in January. That means, you know what? Guess what? You can only start testing me in when? January. So I can start my cycle right now all the way up until January. Then you start testing me. That's the fucking problem with boxing. And the WBC are the only ones that are doing something about it with their clean program with VADA. Why are not the WBO, the IBF, the WBA doing stuff as well? Why isn't the IBO doing something? Why isn't Ring Magazine with their fancy belt doing something? I mean, what do we want to see? Deaths in the fucking ring. I mean, look, boxing's gladiatorial enough. People want it banned, people. People want our sport banned. At least let's make it clean. At least let's make it an equal playing field. What the fuck is going on? What is going on? Why are people so upset when we talk about steroids in boxing? Like, I see old boxers. I guess in a way I'm lucky that I go to meet old boxers who can barely talk, who can barely write, who can barely walk. I don't want to think that that's just because of boxing. I'm looking at it thinking it's because they were fighting people that were juiced to the fucking grills. It's ridiculous. And Myosin John has been given a lot of stick. I can understand a bit of it, but she opens discussions, and that's what I want. I want discussions. This is the sport I love. But I've said this time and time again. This is not the 100 meters. I don't give a fuck who cheats in the 100 meters. I don't give a fuck who cheats when someone hits a golf ball 100 yards. I don't care about that. I care who cheats in combat sports because it's dangerous enough. If you don't think it's dangerous and you've never boxed before, by all means, go to your local gym, put on the headgear and have a couple of minutes in the ring. Just a couple of minutes. Not even 5. Just have 2. Then you'll know how hard it is. Then you'll know how hard it is. And then you understand why I'm so for PED testing all year round. Not the bullshit we've got now.